Hey YouTube, welcome back. In today's video, we're going to be bringing down another practice question to help get you guys ready to take your exam, so stay tuned. Okay, so let's dive into it. A social worker is meeting with a 40-year-old man who has been court ordered to attend anger management classes. The man reports that he does not want to attend the classes because he believes the classes are a waste of his time and plans to leave early. What should the social worker do next? All right, so looking at the answer choices, we have A, should we honor the client's right to self-determination and allow him to leave? B, convince the client to stay for the first session as he may find it beneficial. C, call 911 as the client may become hostile since he has anger management issues. Or D, explain the extent of the client's right to refuse services. So again, take a second, pause the video, reread the question, reread through the answer choices, pick your answer, unpause the video, and then we'll dive into the explanation. Okay, so we're going to scroll down and see what we got. So just to reread it again, a social worker is meeting with a 40-year-old man who has been court ordered to attend anger management classes. The man reports that he does not want to attend the classes because he believes the classes are a waste of his time and plans to leave early. What should the social worker do next? So A, honor the client's right to self-determination and allow him to leave. That is the incorrect answer. Nope. Why? Because the client is ordered to be is ordered by the judge to be here, their choice is limited to a certain extent. So in a lot of cases, most cases, we want to honor a client's right to self-determination, which is allowing them to make a choice on their own as long as it's an informed decision. They want to essentially know what the potential consequences of their choices are. In this particular case, yes, the client is not a danger to themselves or others, but they're being court ordered to be there. So, and we'll dive into that answer in a second, but that's the reason why, promoting their right to self-determination would not be the correct answer. Then we have B, convince the client to stay for the first session as he may find it beneficial. Nope. In general, we always want to honor a client's right to self-determination unless, again, it's a safety concern. As social workers, we shouldn't try to persuade a client to do anything. Instead, we want to make sure they are aware of the potential outcome to their decisions, if not already aware. So kind of like what we just went over where convincing, no persuading. Remember, as professionals in this role, we want to remain neutral, unbiased, right? We definitely want the clients to do what's in their best interest, but we can't force them or influence them to do that. We just want to be a support for them, remain a neutral party, and again, acknowledge that it is their decision, it is their choice. So that's why, convincing the client to stay, it kind of goes against that. So that's why B would not be the correct answer. C, call 911 as the client may become hostile since he has anger management issues. Calling 911 is not justified in this scenario. The man did not verbalize a threat to himself or someone else. He verbalized not wanting to attend the classes because he believes the classes are a waste of time. So again, just because we see anger management issues and we're like, oh, wait, he could go out there and, do something to somebody. That's not a cause for safety concerns, right? And especially within the question itself, it's stated that, he doesn't want to leave the classroom and saying, I'm going to let my boss have it or something like that. He said, I just don't want to be here because I feel it's a waste of my time. I'm only here because the judge said to be here type of thing, right? So that's why calling 911, that's kind of, going the extra mile a bit for a safety concern that's just honestly not present. So that's why C would not be the correct answer. Now, when we look at D, explain the extent of the client's right to refuse services. Yes. Why? According to the NASW Code of Ethics, which is the section 1.03, informed consent, In instances when clients are receiving services involuntarily, like this client right here, because remember, he was court ordered by the judge to attend these anger management classes for whatever the reason. We're just going off of what the question gave us in this scenario. In instances when clients are receiving services involuntarily, social workers should provide information about the nature and extent of services and about the extent of a client's right to refuse services, right? Because this client is receiving these services involuntarily, the rules change a bit, right? It's not like this client said, you know what, I'm just going to attend these classes just because there's just some things I just want to work on. And the client said, honestly, after being here for 30 minutes, I don't think this is doing much good for me. I'm going to just leave. Then this wouldn't be the case, right? Because they're there on their own free accord. In this scenario, again, we're going off of the details of the question. They were ordered to be here by the court, so the rules change a bit. And when we're going through this, we want to keep this in mind because on the exam, sometimes it can get a bit tricky where we're like, wait a second, this answer choice sounds good. That answer choice sounds good. Just to actually scroll back up a bit. It's like, wait a second. Why wouldn't we want to honor the client's right to self-determination? Again, the rules change a bit according to NASW Code of Ethics when they're involuntarily receiving services. Wait, Ray, why wouldn't it be B? Why couldn't we convince the client to stay? Because it's beneficial and everything like that. And it can help avoid them getting into any trouble with the law or any further trouble with the law or anything like that. Again, our position is to be neutral. We definitely want to be a support for the client, but we can't persuade them to do something. We want them to do it. We want them to want it for themselves. We can't say like, you should really do this. Like you get this benefit and this benefit and this benefit and this benefit. Like you should really do this. We just more so highlight it for them. And when we and that goes into D actually, where when we're explaining the extent of the client's right to refuse services because they're involuntarily there. Again, 1.03 informed consent, according to the NASW Code of Ethics, that in instances when clients are receiving services involuntarily, social workers should provide information about the nature and extent of services and about the extent of the client's right to refuse services. So they're limited in what they can refuse because the court, again, ordered them to attend these classes, these anger management classes. And then and then C, call 911 on the client, may become hostile since he has anger management issues. This is reaching, right? There's no present safety concerns or anything like that. This client isn't saying, oh, I'm about to go out there and, do something to myself or do something to somebody else or anything like that because I'm so angry I'm about to go, attack that person or nothing like that, right? So when we're breaking down this question, because of that, we can immediately roll out C because we're like, it's not a safety issue, right? And when we talk about the convincing, remember, for our position, social workers shouldn't be convincing the client to do anything. And if we looked at my previous video where we were breaking down a question, again, no persuading, even if it's something ideal and we're like, oh, it looks good and everything, we don't want to put our values on the situation. And in this scenario, our values would be, getting help for our anger management issues. We don't want to put that value on a client of like, yeah, you should do this. 100% you should do this. So no convincing in that regard. When we look at A, so we know how to eliminate B and C right off the bat. And when it comes down to those last two, it's like, wait a second. Okay, I know it's not B. I know it's not C, but then we still have A and we still have D. Like, how do I decide between the two then when it gets down to those last two possible answer choices? Well, again, with A, honor the client's right to self-determination and allow him to leave. So yes, it's his choice. But remember, according to the NASW Code of Ethics, in instances when clients are receiving services involuntarily, again, I'm going to sound like a broken record, involuntarily, social workers should provide information about the nature and extent of services and about the extent of the client's right to refuse services. So ultimately, that's why the answer would be D, in this case of explain the extent of the client's right to refuse services. Okay, guys, that's it for today's video. Thank you for watching. I appreciate it. And you got this. I know when we're breaking down these questions, it can be, a little tricky at times, a little anxiety provoking, but the more and more we stay consistent with our studying and learning how to really break these questions down, the better we become at it. And, the exams doesn't seem as scary, right? And we just want to keep being able to do these practice questions on a daily basis so that we're getting really, really comfortable with approaching these questions, approaching these exams in a better light. And before we head out, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, as I plan to come out with more content, and share with a social work friend. We don't want to be licensed by ourselves, and we got this. I'll see you guys next video. Bye.